Hi everyone, it's Tuesday the 19th of May. We're in reading at the moment. Tuesday, our learning intention for reading is rereading when something doesn't make sense. So to be successful, let's look at our success criteria here. I can go back to the start of the sentence when something doesn't make sense. I understand what the sentence says. So you need to make sure that you're understanding what the sentence says before you read on. And if you're not sure, we need to go back and reread. All right, so this is what we said yesterday. If it doesn't make sense, I back up and reread. So say that with me. If it doesn't make sense, I back up and reread. Can you say that now just to yourself? All right. So let's look at some times where you might have to reread. So it says here, sometimes you might need to reread because maybe you misread a word. So maybe you accidentally said a different word instead of the word that was there. So you might need to go back and reread the whole sentence. Maybe you worked out the word using a decoding strategy, which is fantastic, like chunky monkey or stretchy snake or flippy dolphin. And after you've worked that out, you might have forgotten what that sentence was saying. So you need to go right back to the beginning of it and reread. Maybe you found out what a word means. So you read the word correctly, but you don't know what it means. You might have found that out. You might have asked mum or dad and said, "What does this word mean?" And they told you what that word means. So you can go back to the start of the sentence and reread it. Or maybe you forgot to change your voice when you saw a question mark or an exclamation mark. Because remember, the writer puts those punctuation marks in for a reason. If he puts an exclamation mark in, he might be wanting the reader to read it a bit louder or with a bit more expression. If he puts a question mark in, he wants you to read it as a question. So you need to go back and reread. Good readers do this. They go back, they reread, they check for understanding. You need to make sure that you understand what you are reading. Otherwise, there's no point reading. Remember how we spoke about real reading and fake reading? I've got it up on my wall over there in my reading corner. Rereading is very helpful when it doesn't make sense. So remember what rereading is? Read it again. That's what rereading means. Let's go through this one. We didn't go through this one yesterday. Let's move me over here. When you reread, you need to slow down, and you pay close attention to the words. Let's read through this. Reread. Go back and reread a part of a page or selection to better understand what the author wants you to know. So remember, the author always writes for a reason. You need to work out what the author's writing for. See what this girl says. I don't quite understand what the author is trying to tell me, so I'm going to go back and reread. Awesome. That's what you need to be doing if you're not sure what's happening. Do you need to reread if you know exactly what that sentence is? This strategy is for when you are not sure. So when you reread a sentence, you should be able to reread it nice and smoothly after that. Okay, remember what you can do as well. After you've practiced your activity, after you've done your activity, you might decide you might want to do a bit more reading. You can always do some stop and jot. This is an optional activity, optional extension activity where you can practice all the strategies that we've done throughout this year so far. They're all here. Text to self, text to text, text to world connections, visualizing, heaps. And I've got a little picture here. So you can pause this screen if you want to. You can come back to this video and pause this screen if you want that stop and jot list. Please go and watch the video of me practicing the rereading strategy with Bambi, the next part of Bambi. Bye-bye.